When I was, I don't know, maybe like 10 years old, my uncle had this really nice Dodge Viper race car, and I was begging, I was like, can I please go in it? And eventually my mom caved and I hopped in it, and as soon as he started, like the smells, the vibrations, the noises, everything, I was like, I like this. My senior year, my mom put me into a race school where I raced Miata Cup cars. And then from there, it's really anything I can get my hands on. My uncle belongs to a track in New York, so him and I will go together. We'll race whatever he has there, most recently the Cross Kart. So yeah, I'd say I've had a good amount of experience, and then bringing that here now has been a fun opportunity to show that to everyone and get everyone more passionate about the motorsport community. So EVO, granted, it's tailored mainly for engineers to apply their skills towards projects, whether it's the moped, go-kart, cross-kart, things like that. I'm in charge of the more so motorsport side of things. Well, it's kind of the director of fun. So I drive the car and obviously make sure it's driven safely. And on top of that, just kind of like community engagement, just coming in with like a positive attitude, making sure everyone's engaged within the org, but also like within their own individual teams. A huge challenge we've had with this is that we're going from an internal combustion engine cross-kart to electric. So the company Sierra, they've made their own electric cross kart, but they were able to make a brand new chassis for it. So they had all the space that they needed. We're going off what we have. We drove from Kingsbury down behind the stadium and then around the roundabout and headed over to the Olsen Center by the cottages. It was definitely nerve-wracking. The whole reason the cart got brought here was because the engine started to die out. It wasn't super healthy. So I was nervous that something might fail, blow up, but everything was running well. It was a lot of just making sure that we had the right tire pressures, that the suspension was set to where it had to be, considering we're not going to be driving on a track. It was just going to be a normal parking lot. It was so much fun. The tires were losing grip, so I was just sliding all over the place. It was a lot of fun, but what I really enjoyed is that the engineers needed a certain amount of data for it, so it wasn't even just like me going around the track just trying to go for a fast time. They needed to have a certain amount of pressure on the front left tire, the front right tire, so it was braking and turning, making sure they got all that data, doing braking zones, 0 to 60s, things like that. And while some people from the outside might just see that, oh, they're just having fun, there's a lot of work that goes into it to get the correct data and the analytics we need. The cart doesn't have an alternator, so it's not going to be recharging its own battery. So after a while, the thing will just die out and you have to recharge it for it to be ready to go the next time. So just cut out, and so we bump started it, had it run for a little bit. I think I made it halfway back to campus before it died again, and we had to charge it again on the side of the road. We did a lot of practice drills beforehand, like before we even got the cart driving. We did practice of just me being in it, jumping out of it, and then also practice of if I'm unconscious, having the team be able to run over and pull the kill switch and be able to get me out of the cart. We just had the one police car come. That was Officer Cochran. He's been really heavily engaged with the organization here. He stopped by just to check it out, obviously make sure that everything was safe. And I asked if I could do donuts around his car, but the cart died right before I could. When I first was bringing it up here, my mom said, if you get in trouble with that thing up at school, I'm not helping out, you're done. And so while I was in the cart behind the officer getting a police escort to the cottages, I took a video and just to send it to my mom and say, I'm doing all right. I think honestly, for a student project, it's going to be one of a kind. I've learned a lot from these guys. I mean, I'm no electrical engineer, but being able to sit down and watch them, it definitely starts to make more sense to me now. So it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. Sitting within Paul, I kind of break away from that. And at the same time, with the business skills, we had to find a lot of money for this thing. We have a really good team of engineers on it right now, and next year they're going to work on perfecting it, making sure that we can put the power down, torque vectoring, all those different aspects. So overall, I think it's just going to be a long process, but the reward is going to be ginormous.